We are in a brand new metagame, and I think this deck is the closest thing we have to a frontrunner for best deck in the game. Many men is how this deck likes to win. Multiple men copied multiple times with multiple buffs, followed up by Juggernauts and Cosmos and Iskas. This is an extremely powerful, but definitely very complicated list that I think will be the kind of list that people benefit from spending a lot of time with, questioning some of their assumptions on. For example, to my mind, the strongest card you can get in this deck is probably Penny Parker, because Penny Parker gives you a spider that gives a card +5 power and movable effectively, right? That is never going on Penny Parker. And I realize that might sound obvious to those of you who's played this deck a lot, but I don't think that's obvious to most people. The best thing you can do with this deck is something like turn 2 Penny Parker, turn 3 Aranya Multiple Man, and then turn 4 activate the Aranya on the spider onto the Multiple Man, which will give you 2 10 power Multiple Men that can then move, which then create other 10 power Multiple Men, by which point you start running downhill and locking the game up with Juggernauts and Cosmos and Iskas. That's not an obvious thing to do per se, and I do think that a lot of the reason this deck hasn't necessarily percolated downwards, even though it's been around for a while at High Infinite, it was one of the few decks that had a really powerfully good matchup into the Captain Carter decks before the nerf. It's a really difficult deck to play, and it's pretty feast or famine, and even someone like me, I struggle with some of the lines, I struggle seeing all the things I'm supposed to see. There are a lot of decisions that you have to make, and a lot of intricate little things to know about this list. But with all of that said, I can't think of another deck I'd rather play. It is just absolutely phenomenally powerful that it really cannot say enough good things about the power output, the strength, and the appeal of a deck that can do as many things, redirect as many people's thought processes about how to interact with it, and do combo output while also having anti-tech tech. Aranya's a really solid card in a deck like this, but she is a little bit finickier than your other things that really help you win games. I think both Ghost Spider and Doctor Strange, because they work retroactively, are a little bit better than her. The main power spikes with a deck like this are not something you need to rush into, though, and I think that's the biggest thing that I can teach you about this list, is that you can be patient about it in order to make sure that your interactions actually happen the way they need to. And if that means, say, having an Aranya down, waiting until turn 5, turn 4, you play a Symbiote Spider-Man, turn 5, you play a Multiple Man, activate the Symbiote Spider-Man, activate the Aranya Spider on that lane, suddenly you have 2 movable 16 power Multiple Men, 17 power Multiple Men. And yeah, like that's the kind of stuff where it's like this deck really explodes in power, and Aranya does help you do that. You're generally going to want to make sure that you have empty lanes for your spiders to land in, for your Symbiote Spider-Man to land in. So typically when you're playing things like Aranya and Madam Web early, you're saying this is not going to be the lane where I play Symbiote Spider-Man. This is not going to be the lane where I play Penny Parker Spider. And that is a meaningful commitment, so do be thinking of that when you play her onto the board. Ghost Spider is just unbelievably good. A staple in move lists. Really can't say anything bad about what she does. 1/3, move something. Remember that the movability granted by Spider is incredibly temporal. It only lasts for 1 turn. So what you need to do is duplicate it the same turn you play Spider on your Multiple Man. That's the important thing. So for example, another potential line that you may have is Penny Parker on 2, play a Multiple Man on 3, and then on turn 4, you play a Spider on the Multiple Man, and since that ends up being registered as the last card played, you pull it with Ghost Spider. That gives you 2 movable 9 power Multiple Men. Madam Web is really good here, but I think if you play this deck as a Madam Web deck, you will probably be making more mistakes than you think. Because again, a lot of what I've learned about this deck is you play it as a multiple man deck, you play it as a Human Torch deck. If you're just jamming Madam Web down on 2 and then putting a multiple man in that lane, you're kind of cutting yourself off from a lot of your ability to merge without 50/50s, right? And the merge is actually the thing that makes this deck tick, not the move. The move is cool and incredibly helpful, but what we're doing is merging. And that is something that Madam Web meaningfully interferes with. So make sure you think about that when you're playing her. Penny Parker never does anything with her own text. The whole reason you're playing Penny Parker is to get the spider. The spider merges and gives movable. The best thing you can do with this is put it on pretty much anything that gets a benefit from moving. It's obviously incredibly powerful with all the lines I've talked about already with multiple man, and that is definitely the deck's plan A, but plan B is slapping it on a Human Torch or an Iska. That stuff can also win games. When you're doing multiple man stuff, typically you're contesting 3 lanes. When you're doing it on another kind of scalar, typically what's happening is go tall in one lane, Juggernaut another. Doctor Strange is great because he's excellent payoff after you've done a couple of those merge things, right? A lot of what you're looking at is, turn 4, there's a spider coming down on a multiple man plus something that moves it. So you got 2 movable multiple men. You move those multiple men around, you play a Doctor Strange on the final turn of the game or on turn 5 or really whenever you want to do it. And he's pulling like 30 points of power to his lane. That's obviously just a really good thing to do, and Doc Strange is really good at doing it. There is a huge difference between the games that you play with multiple man with this deck, and the games you play without multiple man. The multiple man games are your good ones. Like, genuinely, multiple man Penny Parker beats almost everything. It is that good. You will be able to figure out what to do from there with the rest of the deck. It is really hard to lose those ones unless someone is doing things that are directly countering you, like Mercury. I've had people do things like Cosmo, the lane the multiple man is in, and it's like, okay, I'll just play through that. I have Symbiote Spider-Man. It's chill. I'm really not concerned. This is the guy. He is your best guy to put buffs on, to copy, to do all of that stuff. And that's because he is the only one that is not going super tall in one lane, but rather going wide. And you really need that ability because going super tall in one lane is pretty fragile. When you go super tall in one lane, you end up pretty vulnerable to things that beat things that go super tall in one lane. Shadow King, Shang-Chi, things of that nature, not exactly something you like being vulnerable to. But those are cards that all hit one lane. And if you're playing multiple man lines, you're going wide, and they are going to be not enough to beat you. I know it sounds weird to say Human Torch is kind of a second-class citizen here, but he is. Like, he's fine, don't get me wrong. Like, I had a game where I got like 100 power Human Torch, it was cool, right? But it's really touch and go when you play these versions, and Human Torch is like, all right, that's nice. I appreciate what you're doing here. I'd rather you were multiple man 100% of games that I play, right? Like, it just kind of is what it is, right? Like, he is a good card, but he only goes tall, and that's a fine thing to do, but you definitely don't want to over-index for it. That said, Human Torch going tall into a Juggernaut, one of your best lines, as long as you can make sure that you're actually winning the lane the Juggernaut's in. I talked about how a lot of your plans involve things like making one person really tall. Like, oh, it's my Iska. Oh, it's my Human Torch. You need something to protect those cards in that situation. And it can't be Juggernaut because Juggernaut has to win the other lane. So it kind of has to be Cosmo. Spider-Punk is literally just here. This is a very clear flex slot in the deck. You can do pretty much whatever you want here. I think right now the best thing you can do is play something like a Hulkbuster or a Scarlet Witch or a Lin Lee or this or Mercury, whatever. Just put a card in here. Your stick? I don't know. I think that there's just kind of a lot to be said for just play a card that is kind of okay. This is a very okay card, but you absolutely never want to be in those games where you're relying on him. Super mid in that context. Not anywhere near Human Torch, way below multiple man. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he just tricked you into staying in the games that you shouldn't be staying in. This deck is a really good Iska deck, and it's not just because it has the ability to sort of redistribute Iskas. It's also like you can get your Iskas enormously large thanks to your merge stuff. There is a lot of power to be shown by an Iska with the ability to move, but there's even more power to be shown by an Iska that's just like 13 power with the ability to move. And that kind of stuff is a real threat in this deck because of the way you can apply power to things. Iska, Juggernaut, kind of the name of the game when you're not comboing off. That's sort of your plan B. Not really sure what else to say about Juggernaut. He is your win condition number 2. He is your disruptive piece. One of the reasons we're so good against these various onboard combo decks is between Juggernaut and Cosmo, we're just disrupting them at a much higher rate than they are meaningfully able to disrupt us. Juggernaut's a great card, and the metagame is even becoming more mid-rangey, which is making him even better. Symbiote Spider-Man is a very interesting card in this list. I think a lot of people's instincts are going to be like, oh, I got to use my energy. I got to play out my stuff. There's like a decent amount of the time where it's like, I'm not going to play the multiple man until I have the symbiote down. And then I go multiple man, merge, move it, that kind of stuff. It's like a little bit different from how I would have expected this deck to play out. Like, this is obviously the biggest boost you can give any of your cards that scale upwards, the biggest thing you can put on an Iska, the biggest thing you can put on a multiple man, all that. And that's really what the card is doing here, but I was surprised by how often I felt it was the right thing to just like not play a scaler until turn 5. Like just, play a Penny Parker, play a Spider Punk, play a Symbiote Spider-Man, and then play a bunch of guys, right? Like that. I wasn't expecting it to be that way, but it was that way a lot more than I thought it was. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I've been KMBest. You've been phenomenal. We're about to jump into some gameplay. You have a wonderful evening. Could have played something mid at hindsight, but then they would have done something different with foresight. True. Rank check, snap it, Unk. Smiz? I'm not going to snap Smiz. He's a good player.
Opponent snapped.
I'm going to snap back. This is dumb, but I'm going to do it. What relationship to... How does it work? What is the last played card? How does it work? Does anybody know? Like, Spider is always the last played card, even if I play cards here. Okay? That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know. It works on 6. All right, so we go Juggernaut here. And then, isn't it Jug mid? I deactivate it just to make sure. Okay. Activate Spider. Spider. Range. Play this there? Is that what's going on here? I guess there's no reason not to do this, right?
I am the Sorcerer Supreme.
And then the Juggernaut mid should just win us this game. They already Cosmo'd. They can't Cosmo again, dude. Uh-huh. 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 Whoops. You got it, buddy. One snap, and having him be rewarded for that makes me so sad. Not my favorite thing in the world, but we'll make do.
Opponent snapped.
Am I not okay here? Does this not just win instantly? I don't think they put another card mid. I mean, what else am I going to do with the Juggernaut is kind of the question, right? Like, I don't have a better play than this.
I am the Sorcerer.
That's just to win the middle, you know? Oh, fuck. I should have lost that game.
Victory. Right.
Bro saw God. Honestly, yeah. I did see God. You know what I learned about God? You know what I learned about the big man upstairs? He's fucking scary. I deserve some luck sometimes, I suppose. Hello. I pretty much have to do that there then. Count your blessings, chat. Woo! Not getting goddamn Iron Patrioted. Love it. Oh, fuck. I am getting Iron Patrioted. Well, that sucks. Oh, wow. I was like, wow, there's nothing I can do about that, but it turns out there was something I could have done about that. Oh, fuck. Does anyone know the ordering on these? I think the right backs their building. Which one's the important one here? Left to right, even with this happening? All right, so my instinct is that I am supposed to... Whoa, not you.
Oh, snap.
I think it's that. Way to find out, right? Okay, what is this? The right one's the important one. That's what it means. Dog left. I don't know. We don't know which one's important is the problem, so it's going to be fine. What? Move man mid. That's terrifying. We lose? We lose. What the fuck happened? How did they play all those cards? Oh, we win. Calculated.
Victory.
Interpreting it as a friendly jab. They interpret it as someone hates me and also beat me. It's the most frustrating shit on earth. Like, yeah, dude, I know what his name is. Brutal. Hate it. Okay, so it's a bounce deck.
I am the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, I gotta play. Question. Ordering here. If I play this and then activate Aranya multiple man, is there any way to make it happen? There's not, right? But this, on the other hand... Snap. Yeah, we're fucked on board space. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm not gonna lie to you. There goes Madam Web. And beast all their shit. We have a Juggernaut then. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with it. I mean, like, I don't know, dude. I assume it's like a toxin on the right lane. Where else would it be, right? Points. Sure milled me. Sure milled me. Milled the shit out of me. Looks like they would have lost anyway, but what do I know?
Victory.
I don't think that play beat 17 here. Did it? It would have been his back. If we drew web, we'd die because we wouldn't have had jug. That's not even true.
Hi, I'm Spider-Man.
Is playing Spider-Man Brand New Day, so we switch decks.
Opponent snapped.
Okay. I'm imagining they're just getting a bunch in. Best I've got. He's got one card in hand. Ah, shit. I think we win. Because the Juggernaut goes right, it's net 3, and then Iska doubles, right? 1 point win on the right. Two-point win on the right.